What's going on, YouTube? This is the unbiased counselor coming to weigh in on some things that I have been seeing transpire over the course of this past week. There is a man, a influencer by the name of Derrick Jaxn. And this man has been deemed a adulterer. So I am going to be using a few passages of scripture, and then I'm going to give my unbiased opinion on the situation. So, for those who don't know what's going on, I'm going to bring y'all up to speed real quick. Basically, this man has a wife, been married for 10 plus years, and he is a life coach, if you will, or a relationship coach, and he gives relationships to mostly the minority of women, which are black. A lot of black women follow him, and he has been giving advice to them for many years. Now, the funny part about it is that he's been exposed as a hypocrite. You know, he doesn't walk out what he talks, you know. He doesn't practice what he preaches. He has committed adultery against his wife in a very treacherous way. Not only did he get caught up once, not twice, but 3 times. He had 2 side chicks that came forward, and then he had another mistress that he, even after the exposure, he is still dealing with. And at the end of the day, I mean, he has dealt treacherously with everybody, but the one that actually counts is his wife. That's the one I feel sorry for, because just based off of my own interpretation of things, she seems to be a Christian woman who is a devout Christian woman, and ended up getting with a man that was not Christian, or didn't convert to being a Christian until after he got caught up. And now a lot of people are saying that he's using God as a crutch or as an excuse to say that he's only human and he made mistakes. Well, I'm sorry, Derrick Jaxn, but you made not 1, not 2, but 3 mistakes. You stepped outside of your marriage 3 times. You defiled the marriage bed literally, because you brought one of your side chicks into your marriage bed and you defiled it. Which is sad. From a biblical standpoint, though, there's 2 passages of scripture that come to mind. And the first passage of scripture is out of Proverbs chapter 6. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't want to hear this, and don't nobody want to hear no biblical stuff, but that's fine. I mean, you watch the video if you do, or don't watch the video, but I'm still going to present it anyways. So it's out of Proverbs 6, chapter 6, verse 32. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. So there's a lot of spiritual ramifications to it. The worldly ramifications is, you built yourself up a brand, and ultimately at the end of the day, you stand to lose it all if your wife decides to divorce you and take you for everything that you got. Rightly so. rightly so. You know, she would be within her rights to do so because you dealt with her treacherously. You did not find your vows that you said before her sacred. You stomped on them and you basically you crapped on them. You did not care. Now, from a spiritual standpoint or a biblical standpoint, you're going to have to stand in front of God one day and explain why you decided to step out on your wife 3 times and get your third and get the third side chick or mistress pregnant. Now, Abba Father will forgive you. He will forgive you. But at the same token, don't try to convert now that you done got caught up in, and don't try to use Abba Father as a crutch to justify that you're only a human being, because truth be told, if you wouldn't have got caught up, you still be doing it to this day. You know, it goes back to that one passage of scripture in the Bible that says, what is done in the dark will come to light. So whatever you do behind closed doors, the rest of the world or social media or people in general will not see it. But our Father will see it. He doesn't miss anything. He sees everything. Okay? He's omnipotent and omniscient. So he don't miss nothing. Nothing at all. But if you truly are converting over to being a Christian and you truly are taking that walk, then you got a long journey ahead of you, brother. You got a long, long journey ahead of you. You know, and you got to do it with a humble heart. You can't, you know what I'm saying? You can't just be doing it just to save face or to protect your brands. The second passage of scripture that comes to mind is 1 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 18. Flee from fornication. That means to run the opposite direction. That means to run the opposite direction. Flee from fornication. Every sin that a man doeth is without the body, but he that committeth fornication sinneth against his own body. Your body is Abba Father's temple. And not only are you transgressing against your wife, not only are you sinning against Abba Father, but you are defiling your body. You're defiling the temple that Abba Father resides in. And then there's one more passage of scripture that comes to mind that is out of the book of Matthew. Okay? And this is Jesus talking in the Bible. And Jesus says that if any man or woman lusts after the opposite sex in their heart, they already committed adultery. So that means you don't even have to go through the physical act to commit adultery. As soon as you start building up that fantasy in your mind, like from a man's point of view, you know, you see a thick chick, you see a thick woman, or, you know, a fine looking woman and she thick as hell, and you be like, damn, you know, I wonder how she feels. And then you start fantasizing about it. You already committed adultery. And the same goes for women. So from a worldly standpoint, like I said, he has a lot to lose if his wife decides to leave him. Now, the way it looks is that he's a very controlling, manipulative narcissist. And, you know, you could tell when he made that apology that his wife was uncomfortable. I feel sorry for her. My heart goes out to her. But ultimately, at the end of the day, God is going to hold him accountable for that. Another thing that kind of irks me a little bit is how is it that you can hold him accountable, but you give all the other mistresses a pass? They're just as guilty as him because except for the third one, she didn't know that he was married, allegedly. But the other two, all they seen was a good-looking man with money, and they became harlots, Jezebels, and they went after him knowing that he was a married man. So there's going to be spiritual ramifications for them as well. But from a worldly standpoint, they need to be held accountable as well. You know, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You can't just hold Derrick Jaxn accountable. You need to hold all parties involved accountable. So with that being said, that's my unbiased opinion, and you know, I hope you like the message. Like, subscribe, and all the rest of that YouTube foolishness if you feel the need to. And I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.